I'd be sitting here telling you this story. You know how it is. You joke about things going wrong, laugh about the what-ifs. But deep down, you never believe it'll happen. Not to you. Not like this. But what happened to us out there? It's a nightmare I can't wake up from. And now, every time I close my eyes, I hear those footsteps in the snow. This is my story. I need to tell it. Not because I want to, but because I owe it to them. Paul, Emma, and Jack. My friends. The ones who didn't make it back. It all started with a plan. A simple one, really. 4 of us, all in our late 20s, decided to take on the mountains for a 4-day hiking trip. Not just any hike, though. This was deep into uncharted territory, far from the usual trails, where the air feels heavier and the silence presses against you. We wanted adventure. We wanted to test ourselves. We wanted stories to tell. Be careful what you wish for. The drive to the trailhead was full of energy. Paul was blasting his terrible playlist, Emma was teasing him about it, and Jack was already talking about how he'd be the first to the summit. Me? I was just happy to be there, soaking in the moment. The sky was clear, but there was this biting wind, sharp, like it was warning us to turn back. We didn't listen. By the time we reached the base of the mountain, the air was colder than we expected, slicing through our jackets. We set off, our boots crunching through fresh snow, our breath visible in the frosty air. The first day was tough but exhilarating. We climbed higher, the trees thinning out, the world growing quieter. By dusk, we made camp near a small ridge, the ground blanketed in snow so deep it swallowed our footprints. That night, we sat around the fire, trading stories, laughing about the cold creeping into our bones. But as the flames died down, I felt it. A prickle on the back of my neck, like we weren't alone. The wind sounded wrong. It wasn't just blowing, it was screaming, like a voice carried from somewhere deep in the mountain. I told myself it was nothing, just my imagination. Jack noticed me staring into the dark and laughed, calling me paranoid. But I saw it in his eyes too, a flicker of unease. I woke up in the middle of the night, heart pounding. The wind was deafening, but there was something else. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate crunches in the snow, circling our camp. I held my breath, listening, praying it was just one of the others. But the steps didn't stop. They got closer, heavier, until they were right outside my tent. I grabbed the axe from my pack, my hands shaking, and whispered for the others to stay quiet. Emma's eyes were wide with fear. Paul's jaw clenched tight. Jack was frozen, staring at the tent flap. Then, silence. The kind of silence that feels like the world is holding its breath. The footsteps stopped, but I could feel something out there, watching us, waiting. After what felt like hours, the crunching faded, swallowed by the storm. None of us slept after that. We just sat there, clutching our gear, jumping at every gust of wind. By morning, the temperature had plummeted. The air burned our lungs, and the snow was so thick we could barely see 10 feet ahead. Emma's ankle was swollen from a slip the day before, and Jack was quieter than usual, his eyes darting to the trees. We should have turned back right then, but we were stubborn. We wanted to reach the summit, so we pushed on, deeper into the mountain's grip. The storm grew worse, a chaotic swirl of white that erased the world around us. We lost the trail within hours. Maps and compasses were useless in the blizzard. The mountain felt alive, like it was shifting beneath us, leading us in circles. That's when Jack went ahead to scout a path. He was gone too long, way too long. When Jack finally stumbled back, his face was as white as the snow. "There's something up there," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I saw it. It wasn't human." Paul laughed it off, but it was forced. Emma looked like she might cry. I wanted to believe it was just an animal, but Jack wasn't the type to exaggerate. His fear was contagious, burrowing into all of us. We found a cave to shelter in that night, hoping it would protect us from the storm. But the cave, it was worse. The air inside was heavy, oppressive, like it was pressing down on our chests. And there were sounds, low, guttural hums that seemed to come from the walls themselves. We tried to ignore it, but then we saw the marks, scratches on the stone, deep and jagged, like something had clawed its way through. They weren't old, they were fresh. Emma started panicking, saying we needed to leave, but the storm was too fierce. We were trapped. That's when we heard the footsteps again. Not outside this time, inside. Slow, deliberate, echoing in the dark. I shone my flashlight into the depths of the cave, but the beam caught nothing. Just shadows that seemed to twist and move when I wasn't looking. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't human. It couldn't be. The air felt wrong, like it was charged with something evil. We stayed awake all night, our backs pressed against the cave wall, listening to those footsteps come closer, then fade, then come closer again. By morning, we were barely holding it together. We left the cave at dawn, desperate to escape, but the mountain wouldn't let us go. The landscape had changed overnight, the ridges and valleys unrecognizable. Our tracks from the day before were gone, erased by the storm, and then we saw it, a figure in the distance, standing motionless against the blizzard. At first, I thought it was a person, maybe a lost hiker. I called out, but it didn't move. When we got closer, my stomach dropped. It wasn't a person. It was something else. The snow fell away, revealing a pile of old, tattered clothes wrapped around bones. Human bones, twisted and broken. The clothes were shredded, like something had torn through them. And the skull, it was cracked with deep gouges that looked like bite marks. We ran. Didn't think, didn't talk, just ran. But the mountain was alive now, toying with us. The snow seemed to shift, forming shapes in the corners of our vision, figures that vanished when we looked directly at them. The wind carried whispers, faint voices calling our names. Paul started screaming that we were cursed, that the mountain was punishing us for trespassing. Emma was sobbing, barely able to walk. Jack just stared ahead like he'd already given up. It got worse. We got separated in the chaos. One minute we were together. The next I was alone, stumbling through the storm. My flashlight was dying, the beam flickering as I scanned the darkness. That's when I saw the eyes, red, glowing faintly, watching me from the trees. Not animal eyes. These were intelligent, malevolent. I froze, my breath caught in my throat as they blinked and disappeared. I don't know how long I wandered, but I kept hearing their voices. Paul, Emma, Jack, calling for help. But every time I followed the sound, it led me deeper into the storm, further from safety. The mountain was playing with me like a predator toying with its prey. I found Paul first, or what was left of him. His body was sprawled in the snow, his chest ripped open, his eyes frozen in terror. Emma was next, half buried in a drift, her face pale and lifeless, her hands clutching something, a piece of bone, like she'd tried to fight back. Jack's tent was empty, shredded to pieces, blood staining the snow around it. I didn't find him. I don't think I ever will. I don't know how I made it out. Days blurred together, the storm never stopping, those footsteps always behind me. I found a ranger station by some miracle, half dead from frostbite and exhaustion. They said I was lucky to be alive. Lucky. They don't know what I saw. They don't know what's still out there. I'm telling you this because you need to know. That mountain, it's not just a place. It's alive, it's hungry, and it doesn't forget. Every night I hear those footsteps in the snow getting closer. They're coming for me. I know it. If you're watching this, don't go looking for adventure in places you don't belong. Some stories aren't meant to be told. Some places, they don't let you leave. If this tale chilled your soul, drop a like to ward off the darkness and subscribe so you never face the mountain alone.